Hello, Ospreys, and welcome to our 5-episode intuitive eating series, where the UNF Wellness Dietitians take you through the 10 principles of the intuitive eating framework. Please note this series is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a replacement for your individual healthcare needs. If you would like to utilize our nutrition counseling services, please email us to set up an appointment. We hope you enjoy. Hi, everyone. We are the UNF Wellness Dietitians with the Department of Recreation and Wellness. I'm Chelsea Chandler, and this is Kelly Schooley with me. We're really excited because in this video series, we are going to be talking about intuitive eating. If that's something that you've never heard of before, that's completely fine. That's why we're here, and that's why we're bringing this to you. So what is intuitive eating? Well, it's a self-care eating framework. It integrates emotion and rational thought and physical needs into an eating approach for self-care. It's created by two dietitians, Evelyn Tribbley and Elise Resch. It's actually been around since the early 90s. It's a weight-inclusive and evidence-based model. It's got a validated assessment tool, and there's currently over 125 research studies to date on this approach.
Yeah, and so what's great is that it's broken down into 10 different principles. So it's not something that you have to do all at once. You can really work on each principle. So we're going to kind of go through this series and talk about those. So these principles are designed to work in two different ways. So it really helps to cultivate your attunement, which means like your physical sensations as it relates to hunger and fullness and satisfaction. And then it also helps to remove a lot of the obstacles that you might face when trying to find those things, such as diet culture. All right, folks, we're going to get started with our first principle, which is to reject the diet mentality. So Chelsea, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so diet mentality, you might also hear that being coined as diet culture. We see that a lot now. And it's this idea that we have to focus on an external way of eating by way of an app on your phone or the newest fad diet versus relying on our innate natural cues that we're born with. And diets typically require us to just ignore what our biological needs are telling us. And eventually this can lead to psychological harm, biological harm, and even emotional harm. And all of those things are not super positive for your academic success.
Okay, so what could somebody do if they were interested in starting to reject the diet mentality? Where could they start?
I think a great place to start now, especially with everyone being home and on their phones a lot with COVID, cleanse the social media feed. There is a lot of harmful content out there. Maybe it's influencers that are promoting a certain way of eating that isn't necessarily right for every person. But also just diversifying the types of bodies that you see in your feed. So you're not always looking at someone who might not actually fit the picture of a true person in our society. There's a lot of editing and a lot of not real images that we see, and we start to compare ourselves to them, which leads us to go on diets. And again, that means exiting your internal cues and not listening to them anymore. Okay, so next up is principle 2, which is honor your hunger. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Sure. So hunger actually gets a really bad reputation, which is interesting because it's a really natural biological process, just like having to go to the bathroom or your leg is tingling from sitting too long. Hunger cues are a sign that our body is working properly. So the more you eat and eat enough, your body with, okay, thank you. And then it's like, oh, a couple hours later, I need to eat again. And you're getting another hunger cue. And so when you get those hunger cues, you honor your body by eating something. And if you're getting really hungry really often all throughout the day, that could be a sign that your body's trying to tell you something. Maybe you're not eating enough. If you think that a piece of bread is a meal and within 30 minutes you're hungry again, that's a sign that maybe that meal wasn't enough. You need to eat something a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah, so true. So what would you tell someone who says, Kelly, I'm not feeling hunger cues? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, so not feeling your hunger cues could be a result of a few different things. Some things that we commonly see are maybe it's the result of dieting. So again, not looking at those those internal cues, that you're looking at the external cues. It could also be a sign that maybe you're ignoring your hunger. Let's say you're studying really hard and it's been 4 hours since you ate, but you don't want to stop studying. Your tummy's rumbling or you're having trouble focusing and you're ignoring that hunger. And doing that over time too frequently, your body starts to turn off those hunger cues. And so what we recommend is first signing up for an appointment, because we can really help you go down the path of how we can re-energize those hunger cues, because we can bring them back.
Yes, they are there. Right. The volume can be turned a little bit down. And then I also see people assuming that the first sign of hunger is that rumbling stomach, when really they may have gotten a couple more nudges, like lack of focus, irritable, getting a little bit cranky, some brain fog. But the first cue that people are used to responding to is actually when your body is making an audible request for food.
Right. And I feel those all the time. My body's telling me, hey, wake up, it's time to eat something. It's a really amazing thing that our body's able to tell us when it needs more energy.